Good morning, or good evening.
Well, this is yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because I'm exactly 12 hours ahead of you, so it's 9 p.m.
There you go. Yeah,
in
it's
Vietnam.
9:02 here.
Um, yeah. So
How are
you're
you?
lovely. I love all your blue color
Oh,
schemes.
thank you. Today is apparently my son said it's like international or maybe it's just National Sweater Day because although I don't think you'd want to be wearing a sweater where you are. So
No, 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 no. So yeah, we're obviously at very different sides of the world. It's obviously quite cold here
exactly.
at the moment. It's quite hot here in Vietnam. Um, But yeah, so Fola, I'll just introduce you to my followers. So Fola's from elevatedmum.co. And we connected, how long ago was it we connected? Oh,
I want to
six
say
months
maybe
ago?
6 months ago sounds about
Yeah,
right. I've
yeah,
been a
yeah.
big fan.
Yeah. So we were just sort of connected online on Instagram, didn't we? We were just liking each other's content and sharing each other's
Mhm.
content um and we connected that way and we just started a conversation with each other and DMing each other and then saying, oh, should we connect? Like have
Yeah.
some calls and share our story. So that's how it started really.
Yeah.
Um and I think the reason we connected was I don't know if you want to contribute here, but we felt like we were
Yeah,
on the
absolutely.
same page with our approach and our outlook and
Absolutely. As Instagram says, I think we're in the same niche. And so actually, it was my husband that put me onto your content. He had seen a couple of your reels, thought they were hilarious, and he knew I was building this thing on the side while I was working my 9 to 5. And so he would share, reels as we all do with our loved ones and friends. And so I really was loving your content and I started following you. So I feel like I've known you for much longer than the 6 months. I've been admiring your content from afar, but we just started connecting, just supporting one another, sending encouraging messages, which is so great that you can find a community on social media. And then we decided to like finally meet about 6 months ago. And so
yeah,
I've really gotten to know you and how, you
yeah,
are, finding this space and your
yeah,
journey. And I think that's the purpose of today is that, a lot of people follow us, but they don't know the people behind, the accounts. So we just wanted to use this opportunity to
yeah,
introduce ourselves. Yeah.
yeah. So do you wanna just explain your background first for my followers and then I'll do mine after, yeah?
Absolutely. So I worked corporate for 20 plus years, really focusing on corporate communications in the last 15. And for a lot of people, you kind of have this moment when this realization is like, is this all there is to life? Just kind of going through the motions. And certainly that came to the forefront when I had my first son and started thinking about, what else could I be doing? Because I didn't feel like the corporate space was really supporting me as a parent. And so, kind of dabbled into some of my, passions, writing, and thought, what I would do a blog. But then I realized, well, if people want to see my blog, how will they see it? So that kind of put me onto social media. And to be honest, I hated social media. I wasn't on it, but I realized I had to push people to get them to where I wanted them to be to see the content. And then amazingly, I came across, a lot of accounts where I was seeing women like myself making money through Instagram, pursuing their passions. They're, expressing themselves through this platform and yeah, building a community. So I stuck with this. I actually started my account back in 2024, I would like to say. And it's grown, started from zero, and now we're, 60,000 plus, strong followers, community of women that are just over the grind, over the mundane, and are looking for more out of life, right?
Yeah.
So that's been a little bit about my journey.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So we obviously come from very different backgrounds, but we feel
yeah.
like it's interesting that we feel like we've got that kind of synergy. So just so
Mhm.
your followers can get a bit of insight into my story.
Yeah.
I was in the corporate world for like over 25 years, and I don't think there was one moment, but I just had this gradual realization that I didn't want to do this for another 25 years, and
Yeah.
I've got a 4-year-old and a 12-year-old, and seeing the 12-year-old grow up so fast and realizing
It
that
does.
I still have a
It
young
does.
child to have an impact on. Um, yeah, we made the bold decision to sell everything we owned in the UK and travel full time as a family. And
Amazing.
I knew to allow us to do that, we would have to have a business to support us to do that. So
Hmm.
way before I quit my job, I started the page Rise Beyond the 9 to 5 because I had this drive really to reach that goal of quitting my 9 to 5, which I did, but also to
Great.
motivate other women in similar position to realize that there isn't not another way. You don't have to get stuck in this hamster wheel of just feel like you're surviving and not really like
Hmm.
not get quality time as a family, and
Right.
you know, or you're just, I don't know if we want to talk a little bit about what it was like being in the corporate world, because I'm sort of
Yeah,
touching
I
on
was just gonna ask, like, how was
yeah.
that experience? I know for me, there was a time, and I'm happy to admit I dreaded going to work. Like I just didn't want to be there. I felt like I had to put a mask on, not really bring my true self to work or my ideas. And so it's kind of like a disassociation to like two lives, who I truly am and then, what they expect of me in the workplace. So for me, it wasn't, towards the end, it wasn't a great experience. I know that, early on in your career, like many people, you're very optimistic. You want to work your way up that corporate ladder. And then I realized, that was not where I wanted to be. I was looking at people who were where who were seated where I want to be. I was supporting them, working with senior executives. They were missing, family dinners. They hadn't seen their spouse in months or spent any quality time with their children. And even, to be honest, at the end of the day, they were just treated like anyone else in terms of headcount, laid off, given working notice. So there wasn't really that even appreciation and respect for them. And even for those that left, on their own volition. As soon as they were out of the position, they were forgotten. And and I'm thinking, here I am, I'm a mom. My children, I'm irreplaceable to my children. And here I was losing, the best moments with them in exchange to being in the office and trying to work my way up this ladder, which, we can talk about that later, but is broken, for a lot of women,
Yeah,
especially for parents.
yeah.
So I don't know, how was it for you?
I just felt like I when I was in my 20s and I started, I did all the things,
Yeah.
got the degree, got the exam results, and went to university and got a
Hmm.
corporate world, and then did all the things, and I thought that I was a real career woman. And then in my mid-30s, I started a family and realized that I, I was trying to juggle working and all the things, being a mum and being there for the kids, my husband, and not doing a very good job at anything because
Right.
it's just like juggling all the time. And I worked in a
Yeah.
male-dominated industry in IT, and so like I felt like I was not on an even playing field because a lot
Right.
of their wives were not working or working part-time, or they're nannies and all sorts, and it was me, trying to juggle, but obviously got a
Yeah.
husband, very supportive husband, but always juggling, those
Yeah.
the school drop-offs and pickups, and when the kids are sick, and
I
long
hear
school.
you.
Okay, we have long school holidays, and like it's like 7 weeks. Like you've got organised childcare,
Right?
school finishes
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock, and you're like you've got to work till like 5. I mean, it's just not practical if you've got no
Right?
family. We didn't have any family, and
Hmm.
um, yeah, it was just feeling not fulfilled and feeling like
What are you
not.
working for, right?
Yeah, yeah.
For the
And then
daycare piece.
similar to you, similar to you is that I was also made redundant. I did a post about this the other day, but I was made redundant 3 times in my career, and I was
Mhm.
under this delusion that these people I was working closely with the day to day, and we were asking about our weekends and our kids and our families and sharing things. They were like friends, not just work colleagues. And then,
Hmm.
you know, each time I got made redundant, sort of you get a few messages on LinkedIn, and you know, if you were lucky, and then these people weren't part of your life anymore. And the
Yeah.
realization that you're just like, it's so temporary, and
Hmm.
you're just yeah, you know, you're it can be over overnight, and then you're, you know, they've replaced
And
you with
you're
someone else. Yeah.
exactly, and you're forgotten. So, it's where do you invest? I mean, if we start thinking about time as an investment, where do we want to invest that time, right? And I understand like people need to work, but that was what was really eye-opening when I got onto social media and realized it wasn't just about watching what people are eating anymore.
Mm.
Several years later, back on Instagram and seeing that people were actually making money out of this thing, right? Not just like doom scrolling, but you could make a living in a different way. And that kind of just like blew my mind away and just kind of opened up, the horizon to me, like that I don't have to stay here stuck into the 9 to 5 and, be unhappy. So,
Mm.
I think my question is to you is like, why do we stay stuck? Why do you think you stayed for as long as you did? It sounded like it was a gradual process for you, a
Yeah.
realization, but you didn't just go in and say the next day, I quit, and I
Yeah.
know a lot of us, I fantasized about doing that a couple of times, just going in and saying, I quit, but then what's on the other side of that? So
Yeah.
why do you think we stay
Yeah.
stuck?
I think that there's a great saying, and I love it. It's called "What's keeping you so loyal to the life that's keeping you so stuck?" And I think
Mm-hmm.
that really resonates with me. But I think it's a few things. It's this fear about you know, going into the unknown. You know, I came from, you know, a background in my family where everyone just went down the traditional route of, you know, and I worried about what my friends and family would think. Um,
Right.
and yeah, I think the fear of the unknown, um,
Yeah.
and just stepping out, you know, like it feels uncomfortable, doesn't it? And it's stepping out of that comfort zone. You know,
Right.
it's easy to stay where you are. But
Yeah.
you miss out on some of the best opportunities if you don't step out of that comfort zone and get uncomfortable with yourself, you know?
Right, that's where the
Yeah,
growth is, That's where you
yeah,
really stretch
yeah,
yourself and see what
yeah,
you can do is when
yeah.
when you do decide to step out. And yeah, I think that's the same for me. I call them the golden handcuffs, like quite literally, at one point I remember talking to someone and they said, "Well, don't respect the work and don't respect your boss. It's respecting your paycheck, right?" And it's terrible advice, but a lot of us, that's why we're there. We're just there because we're getting paid. And
Mm,
I just would hope that when we think about our lives and think about time as investment, is that where you want to spend your time, even though you're
mm,
getting, money, but there's other ways to get it. So
mm,
I think for me, that was really what it was golden handcuffs, staying in industries and companies and toxic environments only because of a paycheck and not knowing that there was something else. And it doesn't have to be that you're making money online. That doesn't have to look like that. But just think
mm,
about where are you and where could you be if you just have the
mm,
courage to kind of step out of the comfort zone and into that, unknown. And I
mm,
think, part of the journey is that you will fail. I'm not going to lie, you will fail. You will work hard, but, just that belief in yourself and belief that you're making the right decisions and headed into the direction you want to be, I think is just so much more rewarding.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane, isn't it? Like you can either, you know, you can get over your fears, or you can live a life full of regrets. And you
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
what choices do you want to make in life? You know.
yeah, that one hits me. I always say, like, it's not a fear of death, it's the fear of the regret that will come in that final
Yeah,
breath, right? Like, not
yeah,
to get too
yeah,
morbid on it on a
yeah,
Thursday morning here in Toronto, but
yeah,
yeah, it's like at the end of the day, you look at yourself and you have to hold yourself accountable to the decisions
mhm,
that you make, right? And so,
yeah,
certainly I think it's worthwhile to like, take that step and of courage and do something, whatever it might be, knowing that at least you're not going to have any regrets for trying, right?